People who have cut contact with their family. Why? I was born female. My mother wanted her sacred little boy and hated my dad. She cheated on him and eventually left him for my stepfather, taking me with her for no other purpose than to hurt him. She had her precious, perfect little boy a few months later. From that point forward, I, then 6 years old, was treated like nothing but an inconvenience on the best days. It was clear that I wasn't wanted, and that my mother was doing everything in her power to keep me away from my father out of spite. She'd tell me I was so awful that he wanted nothing to do with me. I later found out that he kept looking. But every time he found out where I was, my mother and stepfather decided it was time to pick up and move. Unfortunately, I grew to resent him and wanted nothing to do with him by the time I was old enough to make any form of decision about seeing him for myself. Fast forward, I had ear infections that were neglected to the point of hearing loss. I was put through enough physical and mental mistreated that I wanted to pass away by the time I was 10. I was ordered to do anything my brother wanted to make him happy. This included being his literal Mike Tyson bag. Thankfully, he wanted violence and not anything intimate. They also liked to blow off steam by hurting out of me whenever they were stressed or in a bad mood for whatever reason. CPS did nothing. My mother and stepfather would be warned before they came. They'd clean the house and warn me that I'd be given to an even worse family that would hate me even more and hurt me even more if I didn't act like a real little girl and tell CPS that it was all a lie, that I was happy, and that I'd do anything to stay with my mommy and daddy. As soon as CPS left, I'd get hurt for making them look bad and having CPS called in the first place. As an adult, I now have hearing aids. My mother has insulted me about them and the hearing loss itself, as if they're character flaws. She also would not allow a phone conversation to end unless I was crying, sometimes to the point of vomiting. My father died of cancer 10 years ago, but we were able to repair our relationship in the 6 years before he passed. My stepfather also died of cancer after he cheated on my mother, gave her a disease, and divorced her. My brother spent time in prison for taking someone's life as a result of taking dope, then striking and ending a trucker who was standing outside of his truck for reasons I still don't know. I believe there were other substances in his system, too. He and my mother still blame the deceased and insist that the real victim was my brother. My brother is still extremely violent. I cut contact with him 4 years ago after multiple threats to my safety, and sometimes my life, and him telling me repeatedly that I'm alive because he and his father were kind enough to allow me to live, and I should be kissing his feet in gratitude. A year ago, after 3 years of no contact, he sent me a message telling me that he wanted me to know he despises every aspect of me at a cellular level. My mother expected me to apologize for forcing him to feel that way. I told her I wanted no further contact with either of them, and any further attempt to contact me would be reported to the authorities. Then I blocked both.